All right, now another area I want to kind of work with here has to do with drawings in general and different shapes that you can put into your pages. Okay, so where most of that's at is over here in the Draw tab. Okay, so the first thing I want to kind of look at is pretty much just like freehand type of writing and drawing. And in that tab that I just told you to click on to with the Draw, you got all these different tools to work with here. Here are some presets, and here's where you can go to pick specifics. So let's just say, for instance, you want to maybe draw some circles around this information or whatever. All you do is you click on to whatever kind of pen, the thickness and the color that you want from the presets here. So let's just say I'll start with this red one here, right? You do that, your mouse kind of turns into like a little blotch almost, about the thickness. The diameter is the thickness of what you're going to be doing. And what you do is you take your mouse, you'd hold down the mouse button and just kind of draw like this. Now, keep in mind, if you're working with a tablet, with a touch screen, you can actually just take your finger and click on it, just kind of point to this. And then when you go out to here, you just put your finger against the glass, against the screen, and you would do the same thing. You'd be able to go and kind of do something like this, all right? You also, with these presets, have these outlines. So you can actually click onto that, kind of point to an area like this here, hold on your mouse and just kind of drag it, and you're kind of doing your thing here. The only thing is that you have to have a steady hand, because if not, you'll go up and down and wherever else you'll go. If any time you want to get rid of some of this, what you can do is you can click onto the eraser, all right? And you can pick, I guess, your eraser size. I'll go with my large eraser, right? And what you can do is just kind of point to here and just drag, hold on your mouse button and drag it, and that will get rid of whatever you've done, see? You can even go over here and do that. It doesn't erase, obviously, what you've typed in, just what you've drawn. And then when you want to get back to normal, what you do is just click back onto this button right here, and that takes you back into where you'd be able to do more typing. Now, if we go into the color and thickness button here, click onto that, you can actually, pick either a pen or a highlighter. So let's say I want to go with a pen, and I want it to be kind of a thick pen, so maybe something like that. And then I can pick a color, or maybe pick the color first so you can see what it looks like for the width there. But regardless, you find something that you like, the thickness that you want, you hit OK, and now that becomes your new marker, in this case your pen. All right. On the other hand, you go back in there again, you say, okay, now I want to go with the highlighter, right? And here we can go maybe something like this one here, pick a color, hit OK, and then you can kind of do something like this if you wanted to. Or you could still use it to, draw circles. Since I'm kind of using my mouse and not my finger, a little bit hard to make anything that looks, halfway decent. Then again, when you want to turn it off, you just go ahead and click on to type here, and you're back to normal again. I do like this particular one here called the panning hand. If you click onto that, or put your finger on it, and you kind of point anywhere like here, and you hold down your mouse, it does this. It kind of pulls this around, so you can actually pan, different parts of your page, regardless of how large it is. You can kind of move it around like that. And then when you're done doing that, and you want to go back to just typing, you can click on to that, and you're back in typing mode. All right. I just think these are great tools, these freehand ones, for just doing all kinds of just improv type stuff here. So I'll just do one more thing. I can maybe go ahead and pick the thickness here again, go back to my pen. I want this thick of a pen. I want it to be, let's say, kind of a dark gray. Hit OK, and I can go into here and I can say, no, we don't want any of that. Whatever. I mean, good stuff there. Now, another thing we have is this thing here called shapes, and this allows us to draw either arrows, lines, any type of squares, rectangles, triangles, whatever. All right, not a whole heck of a lot here, but you've got a few things to work with. So if you're just going to be doing just a simple line, all right, what you would do is you click onto the line, all right. Now, what's going to happen is you go to draw, you just kind of hold on your mouse and just kind of drag it, and guess what you get? You get the same kind of properties that we had last chosen when we were doing our freehand. See, so that's what you're getting there, is the same as this one here. So what you might want to do, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. What you might want to do ahead of time is go back into your color and thickness and say to yourself, okay, I'm going to go with my pen. I'm going to make it about this size here, and I want it to be red. So we do something like that, see? So we hit OK. So now when we click onto the arrow, and I go ahead and I kind of start maybe from here and draw down like that, see, I get, and I let go. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of dragging my mouse like that. I let go, and there's my line. Now, if I don't care for that, I think it's maybe too wimpy looking, I'm just going to go and click onto it like that, hit my delete key, and off it goes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the color and thickness, go with something a little bit thicker. I'm going to go with maybe the orange this time. Hit OK, all right? And now when I go, now make sure I pick my, my line here, that one right there. Now as I drag my mouse, a much thicker looking line there. That looks good. And then later on, if I want to move it around, I can kind of point to here, hold on my mouse and drag it from there, point right on the back end there, drag that down like this, and I can move it around. As long as I got the crosshair, I'm moving, right? That's all I'm doing. Then I go back over here. I can draw another one if I wanted to. But now this time what happens? What happened there? Well, that's because you get one shot with these, all right? But watch this now. If we go ahead and click on to the arrow again, but then I hit my little drop-down arrow and choose lock drawing mode, all right? Now what happens is it allows me to draw one line, another line, and another one just like that, see, or arrow, whatever you want to call it, see? Just like that. And then when you want to turn this off, as I was saying before, you can either hit this here, or just on your keyboard, if you hit the escape key, that will get you back to the type mode, and then you're back to what we had originally. So it's just a little bit of a shortcut. All right, so I'm going to go to another page here. I'll pick this one here, and I'm going to get rid of this. Just click on it and delete it. So I want to kind of draw some other objects instead of just lines. So I'm going to start with this square right here, this rectangle. So I'm going to click onto that, right? And then I'm going to keep the same properties that I had before. And I can just kind of drag. As I drag it diagonally, you can kind of see how, or you know, if I drag it across, you get this, drag it down like this, drag it diagonally, you get like this. So I can get maybe a box kind of like that. Now that lock is still on, so I can actually go somewhere else and kind of drag again and create another box, just like that, see? A little bit wider, whatever. There we go, okay? Now, unfortunately, you can't really put text in these boxes. I mean, you could go in and maybe go over here, maybe type in something like, you know, maybe phase 1, or we'll do like phase 1 like that, right? And we can go in there, we could like resize that, and you know, while we're in it, we can go back to home, and we can make that maybe centered, all right? Maybe even double click it there, make it bold, make it a little bit bigger, something like that. And then what you can do is a real fun thing here. You got the crosshair, that means you're moving, right? Hold on your mouse, kind of drag it like this. Try to get in there as best you can. You know, maybe up a little bit, like right. All right there, that looks good. Now, what you can do with the box then, with the object, you could take that, you know, make sure you're on the box here. Then we can actually just kind of drag it and get it to where it looks like it's okay. There you go. All right, that's pretty desperate, but that's what you have. The other idea I'm thinking, you know, with the boxes, another good thing to use them for maybe would be to section off one of your boxes over here. So you could actually go back to our draw here, and I'll just go with what we have here. So I'll grab a box, go out here. I can kind of do something like this and just kind of draw that, and then I can hit the escape key, either hit the escape key or click on the type there. I'll just hit escape, and then I can go to here. I can move this box around to get it to kind of look like it's around that. So yeah, another thought. You know, what we can also do is we've got the circle or the oval here, and again you can draw something like that if you wanted to, and then of course move it to be just right. You know, something like that. Don't put me in charge of your drawing. We got the triangle here. So I'll just draw one here. Let me start over again. So hit the triangle, kind of drag it like that. That's pretty easy. Then you can go back to your circle, draw a circle somewhere in there. Then you can take that circle and drag it into something like that. Now they've got another little tool here, and it's probably not that popular, but I guess it would be if you're in school or you're a teacher or something like that. We have this thing here called ink. I guess engineers too, but whatever. But they have something here called ink to math. Okay, and what that means is I'm going to go back and go back to my pen. I'll go with maybe this one right here, and we'll go with, let's say, go with a brown this time. So I can type in something like 2. Of course, what you'd be doing this with your finger if you had if you were just had the touch screen and just touching it there. So then I can go ahead and I can click on to ink to text, and there goes 2 plus 2. You can get a little bit more daring, and you can say something like, you know, 3, and then you can say divided by, you know, 200, something like that. And I can go ahead here, hit my ink to math. Now when I do it that time, it didn't really like what I did there, so when I go and do the ink to math, I actually get this little window that pops up. All right, so I'm going to have to go here and I'm going to type in my 3, all right, into, probably if I would have done that, it probably would have done better there. So there it is. Look at that, huh? And go ahead and hit insert, and there we go. Kind of interesting. So let me just show you one other thing with this, you know, given what we just did here. I'm just going to get myself a new page here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick a, maybe I'll go with pink this time. A little bit larger. All right. So in this case, what I could do is if I did, let's say, here we are. Now, of course, you know, if I was doing this with my finger, it would have been a lot quicker. Oh God, that is a pathetic R, isn't it? We'll see what we get with this. So anyway, I do that, and we've got an item here called ink to text. So I click onto that, and it did pretty good, almost, but you get the idea. I think you'd have a lot more accuracy using your finger than you do a mouse, unless you've got maybe like a digital pen. Then that's a different story as well. But really kind of a neat stuff there that you can do with this. I forget where it was here. There we are. Okay, so not bad. We also have a little tool here called the lasso, and this is kind of interesting because it allows you to kind of lasso or kind of grab a lot of objects at the same time, so that maybe you might want to delete them or something like that. So let's just say you decide you just want to get rid of all this, right? All this marking. So you go to the lasso, start about right here, and you just kind of go down like that, and there's your lasso, see? There we go. You let go. Now everything in there is selected. On your keyboard, go ahead and hit your delete key, and off it goes, just like that. If you thought that was a bad idea, you always have the undo to bring all that back again as well. All right, so not bad. But that lasso also had selected the dates in there too. So when we had done that, let me just go ahead and delete that again. You can see how the dates went away too. So anyway, pretty cool. All right, now another one I want to show you, and we'll get a clean surface here, is let's say I went back and let's say I drew another rectangle. Let's say I put the rectangle there, okay? So there's my first one, right? And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to pick some different pens here. So maybe something like this, different color, and I'll hit OK on that. And now I'll go ahead and I'll draw another, well, maybe I'll draw like a circle. And I'm just being wild here just so you can see this. So I do that. And so evidently the circle definitely does look like it's on top of that box because it's a newer object. So they're like layered. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit the escape key. And that gets me back to where I was. Now, let's say later on I go back in there as well. And I put a triangle in. So I'm going to click on the triangle. I'm going to pick a different color here. I'm going to go with maybe the orange. And then I'll go ahead and draw the triangle. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do there. Sorry about that. Let's get rid of that thing. All right. So make sure I got my color here. Okay, there we go. Oh, wrong one. So there we go. There's the thickness and all that. And then I'll go ahead and click on my triangle, right? And now I'll go ahead and I'll draw, I'll just do it like that. There it is. So now now I'll go back to my type. So then I can go ahead and move this. And you can see now that is on top of all of them, all right? Now if I want to put the triangle back one level so it's between the fuchsia there and the green, okay? Then what I would do is, while I'm on that one, okay, I go over here to arrange, and I say I want to send it backward, right? So I say send backward, and it goes back. Now you'll see how it's beneath this circle, but it's still above the rectangle, right? Now if I go back to arrange again, and say send backward again, then it's behind that one now, see? Now if I took the circle, so I click on the circle now, there that is, that's on top of everything, and I say now I want to put that all the way in the back, then I just go back to arrange and say send to back, and now it's all the way in the back. So you can do that with any kind of a drawn object that you have there. All right, and I'm just going to do something goofy here. So let's say I go back in, and we're going to go with a really thick, actually we'll do the highlighter style almost. We'll do this one here, and we'll do purple. Won't that be wild, huh? Hit OK, and then I'm going to go ahead and pick the arrow here. Now when I draw the arrow from here all the way down to there, okay, so while it's still selected there, if I go back to arrange, now notice how it looks with the text, okay? Just notice that. Now if I go back in there and hit arrange, and I say send it to the back, it's going to go behind that text. Now it's very slight when you see this. Now watch, I click it, and you can see it's very, very slight going in the background there. So technically our little placeholders of text are also being treated like objects. And as I said in the beginning of these videos, I was saying that everything kind of goes onto these pages as if it were, as if we were in Microsoft PowerPoint. Same kind of thing. All right, I'll do one last one here, and go my colors there. I'm going to go back to my pen. I'm going to go with a thick pen, and we're going to go with this dark green. All right, hit OK. Hit my scroll down here a little bit. And let's say I want to put a box around some of the text here. And maybe what I'll do before I do any drawing here, let me just go back to this placeholder here. I'm going to go over to the far right here, and I'm just going to bring it in and make it just a shorter little placeholder there, or text box, however you want to look at it. So there it is there, right? So now I'm going to go back again. I've got my pen, I've got the green, that looks good, hit OK. And then what I'm also going to do then is choose this guy here, the rectangle. And I'm going to draw a box, kind of like, starting about like right there, and drag it like this, and like that. There we go. Now, if I didn't want to have it, covered there, I could, make this just a little bit taller, and so forth, and then maybe bring this in like that. All right. Now, the way it is, it's on top of the text. Now, what I can do is, while I've got it selected, I can go back here to the arrange, tell it to send to back, and that puts it behind everything, and then it's a little bit different. I'm not quite getting exactly the effect that I want, but I'm just trying to get it so where it touches it a little bit, but you can still see the text because it's basically behind it at all, right? So hopefully you get my idea of what I'm trying to show you there, but all I can think about or think of with that. And then if I want to turn off the drawing tool again, I can just hit the escape key, and that gets me out of that mode. All right. Okay, so hopefully this comes in handy. I think you'll have a lot more success with it, especially with some of the stuff we were doing before, using a touchpad. But if you don't have the touchpad and you just have a mouse, you can still do quite a bit too. So I hope you have fun, and I hope this helped out. I appreciate you watching the video. Take care.